I'm going to try and say this in the most respectful way possible. And look, this is not the case for everyone. I don't want you guys to take this as a generalization of an entire group of people, but for some people, once you reach a certain age, you start losing your ability to think rationally. You lose your edge. You're not as sharp as you were when you were younger. You don't see things as clearly. Now, like I said, this doesn't happen to everyone. Guys like my dad, guys like Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, they're in their late 70s. Actually, my dad's in his early 70s, but Trump and Sanders, they're in their late 70s and they're still as sharp as ever. Then you have someone like Joe Biden who can't tell the difference between Sasquatch and Rachel Levine, with the difference being, of course, Rachel Levine shaves his back. Last Friday, Vince McMahon announced his retirement from WWE. He not so coincidentally waited until the stock market closed for the weekend to make his announcement. Now, in most cases, when the face of a brand or corporation steps down, the stock takes a major hit. But this news, it was met with overwhelming joy from the majority of the WWE fan base. They have been begging for Vince McMahon to step away from the company for years, especially when it comes to the creative direction. Vince McMahon used to be a creative genius. This dude knew how to create stars. He propelled wrestling into the mainstream not once, but twice. He was a visionary. He saw how the advent of cable television could take his company from a regional promotion to a national promotion. He used the internet in the late 90s, along with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, to push the WWE back into the mainstream. Hell, he was even a visionary when it came to streaming. If I remember correctly, WWE Network launched in 2014 when the only major streaming services were Netflix and Hulu. He was one of the first media companies to launch their own exclusive streaming service. But as Vince McMahon got older, he lost his creative edge. People like me who don't watch WWE, I haven't watched it, over 10 years, maybe even longer. But we used to be able to name at least one or two of their performers, one or two of their stars. I couldn't name one active performer in the WWE right now. Who is the last homegrown mainstream star that Vince McMahon created? Hell, I don't know. John Cena? Another legendary figure that seems to have lost his faculties with age is Gregg Popovich. Gregg Popovich is arguably the greatest coach in the history of the NBA. Well, KC, what about Phil Jackson? I'm not taking anything away from Phil Jackson. I like Phil Jackson. You can't argue with championships, but Phil Jackson won with the best players in the league. He won with superstar players. Gregg Popovich stayed in one place with a core group of players and made the playoffs 22 consecutive years. I don't know if we will ever see that again in the NBA. But just like Vince McMahon, Gregg Popovich, he's lost the Midas touch with age. Spurs haven't made the playoffs in 3 years. They haven't made it out of the first round in 5 years. Not only has he lost his touch on the court, the guy's out of his fucking mind off the court. Last year, Gregg Popovich compared Christopher Columbus to Hitler. He was pissed off that schools were closed for Columbus Day. Numerous times, Gregg Popovich has claimed that America is systemically racist. Remember this speech from last fall?
It's just part of, it's just been a part of our country. Always has been. As far as Juneteenth, yeah, I might be too cynical, or maybe I'm just realistic, but it sort of felt like a lot of politicians acquiesced to Juneteenth, and then basically either blatantly or between the lines said, "Now shut up. You got that, be happy. What else do you want? Justice, equality, a recognition that we have a systemic system that keeps black and brown people in the background and underneath and less than."
This country holds back black and brown people. I find this so ironic, considering this fuck has coached for 3 decades in a league that's made thousands upon thousands of black people millionaires. Gregg Popovich is supposedly a fighter for minorities, yet for some reason, He supported defunding the police in Austin, a once great city that has been overrun with woke shitfucks from California and is now a complete dump. 40% of the population in Austin is made up of the same black and brown people Gregg Popovich supposedly advocates for. He wants them to be defenseless. He doesn't want them to have guns, and he doesn't want them to have police protection. At Woke U, they call that logic. The rest of us call it stupidity. I'm about to show you the most recent proof that Gregg Popovich is completely out of his fucking mind. Have you guys ever heard of the Innocence Project? The Innocence Project, it was started by Barry Scheck. He was one of the many lawyers who helped O.J. Simpson get away with double murder. The Innocence Project finds cases where people have been wrongfully convicted and are serving long prison terms, and they work to get their conviction overturned. Sounds like a great cause. Now, I'm not too familiar with Barry Scheck or the Innocence Project. From what I can tell, though, they don't have a policy of just helping white people or just helping black people. They don't have a policy of we only help participants of Butt Bongo. Seems to me the Innocence Project helps people from all walks of life, black, white, Hispanic. Sorting through the list of people they've helped get released, I only came across one woman, so I suppose we should accuse them of misogyny. Now, I bring all of this up because I'm rather confused here. There was a social justice summit held in New York City over the weekend. Barry Scheck was being honored for his work over 30 years of helping all people, all races, overturn their wrongful convictions. For some reason, Gregg Popovich was chosen to present the award to him. Instead of just honoring the man for his work, Gregg Popovich used this opportunity to once again showcase his mental deficiencies. And the mental deficiencies of Gregg Popovich were on full display in New York City this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the musings of a dumbass. Roll the film.
I can't imagine a day or two or a week. I can't put my arms around it. I mean, this is the country we live in. I don't have the answers, but it pisses me off, it hurts me, it confounds me, and I wonder, where the hell do I live? I live in a country I did not know existed. I knew there were racists. I understand that. But I had no idea it was to this level, and that the injustice and the seeking of power was so rampant that we are in the position we're in now. I digress.
I actually happen to agree with one part. I can't wrap my arms around the state of the country either. Just 2 or 3 years ago, I was paying $2 for a gallon of gas. Thanks to worshipers of the woke oak tree, I'm now paying $4. Wasn't that long ago I could walk into my vape store and buy whatever I needed. Cartridges, the menthol juice that I prefer. Didn't matter what I needed. They always had it in stock. Now I walk inside the store, the fucking shelves are empty. But me and Gregg Popovich, we're talking about 2 different scenarios here. I can't wrap my arms around the systemic racism. I live in a country full of evil white devils like myself. I can't take this white skin. I hate my white privilege. Please initiate me. Please insert the cucumber. I am begging for some woke love. Have you guys ever noticed people like Gregg Popovich? They never give examples of actual racism. Have you ever noticed that? This is why I call it mythical racism. They like to talk about it. They like to pretend it's a systemic issue like it's an epidemic, but they never provide any proof, any examples. This fucking guy is standing at a podium in a room full of white people talking about mythical racism. There was a Freudian slip in his speech. Gregg Popovich said, the seeking of power is so rampant that we're in the situation we find ourselves in now. Yeah, this is 100% correct. Now, he was talking about Donald Trump, who hadn't been in power in 18 months. It's the deacons at Woke United Methodist who are constantly seeking and trying to maintain their own power. I don't remember Donald Trump telling me I had to pray to the fucking oak tree. I don't remember Donald Trump calling me racist for not fighting against a problem that doesn't exist. Racism exists in every country throughout the world. There's always going to be ignorant people. But these social justice warriors, they act like it's a fucking epidemic when it's not. At one point during the summer of 2020, I can't remember which state this was in, but the governor declared a national emergency over the fight to end mythical racism. It all goes back to maintaining their power. Gregg Popovich is a smart man. Well, he used to be a smart man. Part of me wonders if he really believes the bullshit that he preaches. Another part of me wonders if he's doing all this to hold on to his job in the NBA. As you guys know, one of the requirements for working in the NBA, you have got to be initiated in the butt bongo. You have to kneel to the oak tree. You must fly the rainbow flag. You must taste the rainbow. You also must participate in the fake fight to end fake racism. Gregg Popovich has lived in America for 73 years. If this country is so overrun with racism, how come it took him 70 years to recognize it? Just like LeBron James, this dude has tarnished his legacy fighting an epidemic that doesn't exist. That's one of the many problems in the modern NBA. This league cannot get out of its own way. It seems the only time the NBA makes headlines is when someone like Gregg Popovich proves his stupidity. But let me know what you think. Gregg Popovich, once again, calling all of us racist. How fucking original. Can't they come up with something else by this point? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.